We have a new headlight and also speedometer. These are original parts, new old stock. They were very expensive. See the BMW mark, motometer, made in Germany. We have two counters. One is the speedometer and the other one it is a rev meter for the engine. We have here various lights. Have a green here, this should be the neutral. This blue one should be the high beam. This red one, it should be the oil light, and this orange, I think it is the switch signal. And this should be the generator. I'm not sure 100%, but this is not important now. Have the ignition switch. All the wires are new inside. These two pieces here are the fuses, the only two fuses on the bike. Chrome bolt. This is the cover for the ignition key. We have an ignition key. It is not new, but it is original. It looks good. I just have to clean. Some minor corrosion parts, but nothing serious. A headlight. This original Bosch. This is the part number. Very nice parts, but like I said before, they were very expensive. This is a generous 200 kilometers per hour. So I have to install the headlight because I have to continue the work with the wiring harness. I have succeeded finally after a lot of work to finish the electrics. It was harder than I expected. because all the wiring it was messed up over the years, and I have to replace a lot of wires. If I'm thinking correctly, from here to here is the only piece of wiring harness that is original. I had to change a lot of wires starting from here until the headlight inside. In the back I have modified the wiring, not too much, in the sense that I have connectors here, because this piece of wiring is original BMW but from another wiring, and I have connected to the core of the wiring harness, and I have now a fully functional wiring harness for all the bike. I have tested all the lights, headlight, signals, the light that is showing inside the speedometer, the oil pressure, the charging light, the beam light, high beam light, and also the neutral. I have kept the original starting relay as you have seen in the other video. New wires in this area, also for the neutral sensor, oil pressure sensor also. I have original wires here for the brake switch, but what it is important, it is now complete and fully functional. Now I have to change the steering bar. I have bought another one, and after I will change the steering bar, I will finish all the wiring also inside, in order to be arranged in the headlight shell. But the work on the electric wiring, it is done and I have finished. Now I have to start the bike, just in order to see that the generator is charging, and to see also that I have a spark and all these minor things for engine to run. So you can see the steering bars are almost the same. I just have another curve here. In this area. So in this area here and here, it is more like 90 degrees, and this is like 120, but overall it is almost the same steering bar. We have a good thickness of the material. It's hard to zoom. This one is just slightly thinner. We have decided to buy another steering bar, also because on this one we did not find the part number, and from what we know, the steering bars from BMW have the part number on the part, and it is possible that this one is not original. As you can see, in order to change the steering bar, I had to remove the old one and also the electrics. In this occasion, I will have to organize all the spaghetti here, which is not an easy job, because this series of R60/5 has a lot of wires inside of the shell of the headlight. It was always this complicated. The wiring and the functions are not difficult, but the problem is that we have a lot of lights inside. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Also another 2 lights for illuminating the speedo. That means 6 bulb light, and with this one for signals it is 7 lights. All these 7 lights need 2 wires. Also we have the relay signal inside and the fuses. These 2 are the fuses, and from the fuses we have also some distribution of wires. This is the ignition switch. It has also some wires. So because of that we have this spaghetti here. Before assembling the steering bar, I will put also the oil inside the fork, because now it is empty. And for doing that, I have removed the caps. As you have seen in the picture before, the caps were damaged, and I have succeeded to recover by refinishing them in the lathe, and also making this hole just a little bit larger in order to be round again and not beaten like before. I will use Motul fork oil. You can use any oil you want. For me it was easier to make this choice. I have choose 10W. In manual you can find a chart that is saying you can use oil from 2.5 until 10W according to the condition of the environment where you use the bike. If it is cold, if the roads are bumpy, and all kinds of conditions. I have put oil inside. It is 500 milliliters, 250 for each shock of the fork. And I have found also an information that on this bike you can use also ATF oil, and some guys are saying that it's better. To be honest, I have found also on some Honda models, off-road Honda models, they are using from the factory ATF oil. ATF oil, it is almost the same oil with the fork oil. It is used also in automatic gearboxes, on shock absorbers, also on power steering, and it is cheaper. And the ATF oil correspond with the grade not 10W but something like 7.5. So this must be this could be also a choice that you can consider when you are in need to change the oil fork. Okay, if you don't have the tool to tighten these caps, you don't have to beat with the hammer and ruin the part. You put these 2 pieces also. This is the correct way. Now I have the steering bar in position. I have kept the sticker with Fehling because it is easier to put the steering exactly in the center. But as you can see, it is a nice steering bar, nice and shiny with good chrome. So this is the speedometer. Like I said, it is new, original, very expensive. And I had a problem with the socket bolts. This is BA7S. This looks like a BA9S. This one is directly assembled in the headlight shell, and it is indicating that the signal lights are working. It is original, but I did not have all the bulbs. This one I have because it has come brand new with the headlight shell. But the socket bulbs in the speedometer, they were not delivered with the speedo. Also, this type of socket bulbs cannot be delivered anymore by BMW. I have asked at a BMW dealer, BMW Romania, and they cannot deliver this product, and it was quite difficult to find these socket bulbs. These 3 socket bulbs I have to buy from Bulgaria, outside of Romania. Cannot find in Romania. This is BA7S. Also the bulb, it is BA7S. This one, this is the only one that I have recovered from the old wiring, and I have to insulate again because the plastic insulation on this socket bulb, it was cracked. But I managed to recover this one. As you can see, this is insulated socket and these are not insulated. Why is that? Because this socket BA7S is from the neutral. On the neutral you have the sensor, the neutral sensor that is sending a minus. If you put this type of socket and you put minus here, you have minus here, so the bulb will not light up. So you need an insulated socket in order to have a plus and a minus. A permanent plus when you put the ignition on, and the other connector must to be on minus in order to work, to light the bulb when you are in neutral. Again, the neutral sensor is sending a minus current, not a plus. Also this one it is working. We have the neutral, the high beam. No, this larger one, this is BA9S, also insulated. It comes here in the big hole, and it is working with this red light here. This is the oil pressure. Also the oil pressure sensor, it is sending a minus current. So you need an insulated socket in order to have plus current from the ignition, and when you don't have oil pressure you need a minus in the other part. So you cannot use this type of socket. Also, this is the generator light, and for the generator light you need also an insulated socket, because you need a plus and a minus This is a more complicated stuff here because we have this bulb. It is connected to the diode board that I have presented in the videos before, but because it is working with plus minus, you need an insulated socket. So we will put here. Always use new bulbs because they are difficult to change. So when you have a work to do around the speedometer, you can change the bulbs even if they are good and working. So again, we need insulated socket bulbs on generator light, which is this one, on the oil pressure, which is this one, and it corresponds here, and on the neutral light, which is the green one from here, and it corresponds here. So these three sockets must be insulated. So these three sockets are going, we have two of them in these holes, and these are for illuminating the dials for the night. And this one, it shows when you are engaging the high beam. This work with the plus current. When you engaging the high beam, this is connected to the high beam, and it will send also a plus here. And you have this blue light here. So now I have the speedo in position. It is tightened. Here we have a rubber gasket, which is new. This is the bracket, and it is tightened with long nuts. I think originally is also long nuts, but I have used because it's easy to install. So out from the fuses boxes we have this gray with black wiring, and these are for the lights. So these two connectors goes back on the socket bulb on speedometer for dial illumination, and this one, this position light for the headlight. So these two we have to connect in the back on the socket bulbs of the illuminating dial. For the charging light I have this white wire, which it goes here to the starter relay, and it is making the connection with the voltage regulator like I have shown on the previous episode. And now I need here a plus wire that is working on ignition, and is this one green. In these fuse boxes we have green wires, also like this one, green and black. We have two wires here and two wires here. This green and black are working only when you have the ignition on. So we have this green wire connected on the socket bulb here together with a white wire. So now if we put the ignition on, we have the generator light. I still have these two connectors which are working with the ignition on, and I have to put one here on the bulb for the oil pressure and one here for the bulb for the neutral light. For the oil pressure light we have the original wire, which is brown and green. It is in a good shape, so I will just find a better way and I will connect it here to the bulb. So I have connected the wire for the oil pressure light, and now we have the oil pressure light. Oil pressure light is this one, the red one. This is orange for it is the charging light. So we have to connect every wire to verify if it is working, and we have to make disassembling step by step. I have connected also the neutral sensor, and now we have 3 lights working. So this is a neutral. I still have to connect the high beam, but I'll connect it, but this it will work only after I will assemble the headlight. What you have to try to do here in interior is to put the wire as much as it is possible in the back of the shell of the headlight, because this way we will have plenty of space here for the headlight. Maybe it doesn't seem, but now in the back here we are very good. We have the wires in the back. Just have to arrange the other wires, but you will see I will succeed, because I already know how I have to put the wire in the shell of the headlight. This is a connector for the relay. It is made by Hella. It is good quality. You can find these connectors to buy if you need. You can use for signal relays or for headlight bulbs. Easy to use. You just push here, put the wire here in the hole, and then when you release, the wire remains in that place. So this connector had a rubber damper, and it was assembled here in this hole, in this place. But the problem is this was broken, and also BMW does not produce anymore this part. So I will bolt this connector on that plate, and we will use this signal relay. We have the original one, but it is faulty, and I had to buy a new one, a modern one. I succeeded to put the connector in place. It is bolted here, and now I have to put the wires. Not an easy job if we look at the place here, but I have to succeed. This modern relay does not have the same position for the connectors. I had to read the schematics, and we have here the minus. Here we have the continuous plus from ignition key, and this is the plus that it goes to the signals. So we'll have the relay in this position like this, and I have to put the wires. So this is the ground, and I have connected here. This green and black wire, this one, it is connected in the other part of the relay connector. This is a plus current when you have the ignition on, and here I will connect and here I will connect the intermittent plus current, which it goes to the signals. It goes to the switch of the signals and is distributed by the switch on the left or on the right. Also, this plate, as you can see, have some grounds. This is the wire with a permanent ground, which is connected here. We have these brown wires which are connected here with this wire. This wire will be connected at the battery. And we have various ground wires for the ignition. Also, I will have this wire connected, which is also ground, and I am using as a ground for the bulbs on the speedometer. Also, I will show later some grounds on the ignition key. It works only with the key. It is not a permanent ground. I have assembled again the lever mounted throttle. Now I have assembled also the hand grip. As you can see, it is Magura. We have the wiring back inside of the headlight shell. And this is the wiring. Okay. All these wires are from the right side, from the right side switch. So now I have to connect every wire, but I will start with the wire for the start engine command. Start engine switch, it works on ground current, so you need a minus. This is the feed, minus, and this is the command. This wire I will connect with this one. This red wire goes to the starter relay, and it corresponds with one of the wires here. This one. So it is red, and it goes right here on the corner. This one. I don't remember now the number, but in the previous video I have showed the number for every for every wire here. So from the ignition switch I have this ground wire. I'll connect with this brown wire, which it is from the right switch, and this one I'll connect with the red, and this way the starter has to work. So I have connected the ground, and I have put him here. Cannot see because it is all black, but you can see here the insulation. Here we have the wire, you see the brown one, and this is the brown and black, which is connected with the red. So without ignition switch on, it doesn't work, and it is normal to be that way. We put the ignition switch on, and we have a working starter. So now we have to connect the wires for the brake switch, and in order to identify, it's quite simple. You have to push the lever of the brake, of the front brake, and test the wire. This sound on my multimeter shows that they are connected through the switch. And if we release the brake, we don't have the current. So these are the correct wires. The BMW color signs, there are green with red and green with black. And I have to connect one with a plus, and one it has to go on this wire. This is not original BMW, it is new wire, but here I have to connect. So from the fuse box we have this green and black wire, which is a plus current on ignition switch. So on this wire green with black, I'll connect the other wire green and black. So now we have the wire connected. And we can see in the back the brake light working. So now we have the last wires to be connected, and these are for turn signals. So we have these two wires, which are blue with red and blue with black, which it goes one in one side and one in one side, and this is the plus current. We have already connected the wires on the relay signal, and I have shown this before, and now we just have to connect this one to the relay, and these two wires we have to connect with the other wires, which it goes in the back, these two, and another two wires that goes in the front. So now I will show how to determine the wires. With no signal, no signal switch on the right or on the left, we have no current and no sound. Now it is, I have put the switch on the left. and this one is not making any sound, this one it does. So blue with red for me is the left, and the right I have put now the switch on the right position, and now I have the right. So blue with red is the left. So I have connected the wires. I have blue with red with this wire blue, and I have put some red insulation in order to be easy to identify. And I have made the same work on the other one, blue with black insulation, and here the wire is blue with black. Also here in the back we have blue and black, and this is blue simple. It is new wire. It was changed because the other one it was damaged. And now we put the ignition on, and we have the, it's not zooming, we have the right switch, and now the left switch, signal switch. And I hear the sound of the relay. Now we have to connect the wires for the signal light. When you are driving, if you forget the signal switch on the left or on the right, you have to see here on the headlight shell this light. And now I will show how to connect this light. It is very easy, but for me it was difficult and it took me a while to figure it out. So these two are the wires for the light that shows you have the signal switch on, and we have to connect in order to work with the signal switch. It was difficult for me because it is a very simple connection, but you have to know how the electrics are working. So you need a plus and a minus. And I have connected one of the wire on the minus and one on the exit of the signal relay, but it was not working. It was working, but when I was putting the ignition switch on, the light was working without making the move on the signal switch. So it took me a while to figure it out how it is working. You have to connect the wires, the two wires. You have to connect one on the wire of the signal, let's say on the right, and one on the left. And maybe you'll wonder why. When you use the signal on the wires, you have the plus, intermittent plus, that is making the bulb light to work. But if you have the plus, let's say on this wire, on the blue one, on this one, because it is not working, you will have a minus through the bulb light, because the bulb light, in essence, it is just a resistance. And I will show you. You see, here we have a plus. And if I put the needle, the other connector here, that means we have a minus here, also in the other part. When the signal lights are not working, on both wires we have minus. So that means if we connect the wires here or here, it doesn't matter. I am showing here because here I have the place. If we connect the wires here, when you move the signal switch, in one wire you will have intermittent plus, and on the other one you will have the minus, and the light on the headlight shell will work. I will show you in 1 second. So I have connected the two wires on the signal wires. It doesn't matter which wire where it goes. It is important to be connected. And now we put the ignition switch on. Before, when I was having the wrong connection, when I have put the ignition switch on, this was working already. But now it is not working, and we will make the move on the signal switch. And we see the light working. Also on the right side. So now we have finished the work on signals. So I have finished the electrics on the right side of the switch, and I have organized all the wires. Maybe it doesn't seem, but believe me, they are organized quite well. I have put the electrics on the sides. Also here, it is important to have all the wires on the side of the headlight shell, because later when you will assemble the headlight, you need some space in this area. And now I have to connect only these wires. This is the horn, this is the plus for the position bulb light in the headlight, this is the wire which it goes here on the indicator of the high beam light, and this is the ground for the headlight. Also I have to put another wire from here to the headlight. In order to finish the electrics in the front here on the headlight, I have to assemble also the left control unit with cables, and on the other side it is already assembled, but I have to show you something. As you can see, we have a little edge, just a little, just enough not to be able to put the control unit on the handlebar, and I have to grind here just a little. We are talking about a 1/10 of a millimeter. I had the same problem in this side, and I had to grind this edge here on the end of the handlebar. Because of this edge at the end of the steering bar, see, cannot assemble the control unit from the left, so I have to grind here. After I have grinded, I have managed to put on the steering bar the control unit, but never use force, always be patient, because these are aluminum, and you have here this small problem, but also with time the diameter of the control unit it becomes a little smaller because the material it deforms with the time, because every time you are tightening this bolt, you put a pressure on the material. So always be careful, never use excessive force, measure twice or 3 times if necessary, and you will have the control unit on your steering bar. So now I have the control unit in position. Also I have assembled the hand grip like the other one. It is also made by Magura. It was bought in pair. So now I have to put the cable inside of the headlight shell, and after I will finish the electrics, I will put the clutch cable and the front brake cable. In order to pass the cable between all the cables from the headlight shell, I have to make this, I don't know how to say, this gathering of wires, because it's the only way that I can put the cable inside between all the other wires that are inside the headlight shell now. So I have the wires inside, and the first and easiest connection, it is the hole. And the hole, it is the black wire. It works on minus. When you push the horn button, it touches the ground and is sending minus current on this wire. So that means on the other wire on the horn, we have a plus current on ignition. We have a nice powerful horn. Is this one, it is made by Hella. I have made the connections, but I have to explain first on this wire harness how the wires on these two branches are positioned. We have this branch with 3 wire. This we know already, it is a horn. This yellow with white, it will be connected on the ignition switch on this connector. This connector is for lights, and it will give a plus current to this wire, which it goes to the light switch. The green and the red wire, this green and red wire is for the high beam, but only as a flash in this position. Okay. The other branch, this one, we have the yellow wire, which is the low beam, and the white wire, which is a high beam. This blue one, it is the wire for the high beam light in the speedometer. The blue one I will show later. This is the connector for the headlight. As you can see, we have here minus. This is low beam. I have marked with a plus, and the high beam. This is the schematics according to the manual. So now I will connect this wire on the switch, and after that I will arrange the cables in the right side of the headlight shell. Also, this is the bulb for the headlight. It is the type R2 with 3 connectors, and I have found to buy this from a producer, JP Group, and they have this bulb light on the classic products. So I have finished the electrics inside here of the headlight shell. I have put almost all the wires in the right side. You want to have the left side clear, because in these 2 small boxes here and here you have the fuses, and if you are forced to work here to change the fuses, and if you have a lot of wire in this area, it will be difficult. So I have kept the left side clear, and I have put all the wires in the right side. This is the connector for the headlight, and now when I will put the headlight, it will be pushed inside. So you need space in the back. That is why you need to have the wires on the both sides of the headlight shell. So now we can assemble the headlight. This is the bulb light for position light. It is a Hella bulb, 4 watts, classic position bulb light. This is for the headlamp, like I said before, R2 model for the bulb light. You can put in only one position. You have to fit here in this hole. Now I put a connector. We have here also the connector for the position light. As you can see, this brass blade here, it is the plus, which is making contact here. This plate, it goes to this connector. So this is the plus, this is the ground. You see this connector, which is the ground, it is fixed here on the plate. Okay, this is the plus wire for position bulb. This is the ground for the entire headlight. We put the main connector. We have to align the headlight, and in one move it has to be closed. It is closed correctly when you don't have distance from the headlight shell until the collar. You need to be lined up all the way. This is the position light. We switch to lights. We have low beam, high beam, dimmer, we have the ignition switch on, left signal, right signal, also on the back. This is the brake switch. We have all the lights working in the speedo. We switch to lights, high beam on the dimmer switch. We have the horn. The starter we have already tested. I will not test again because I don't have the big battery connected. But now I have finished the work on electrics.